up, guys? Welcome to the BFF Report. I'm your host, Mike B, aka Phony, and today we're going to take a look at the biggest action MMO to come to us recently, somewhat, kind of recently, not really. We're not talking about Terra, guys. We're talking about Realm of the Mad God. Terra's going to come soon. Don't worry about it. I have like, I think roughly 800 gigabytes of footage that I kind of need to sift through to make sure I get everything right. And that's it. So, Realm of the Mad God, let's go. Now, some of you guys are probably like, wait a minute, Realm of the Mad God, that's been out for a little bit, like a year. Well, that doesn't necessarily mean I can't go back and actually take a look at it. Hell, maybe 9 months I could probably take a look at Dungeon Defenders, and, you know, no one should really get mad about it because it doesn't mean it's a bad game. Plus, not even a couple weeks ago, it was just released on Steam, which means there's a slew of new players checking it out, and if you missed it, well, that's why I'm here. I'm here to show you guys this game that it seems actually to be pretty awesome, especially if you have time to kill or if you have flash capabilities at work. Now, while the game calls itself a co-op fantasy MMO shooter, I guess we could also call it an MMORPG because you are role-playing in this much in the same way that you would a game like World of Warcraft, in that you are playing as a character dressing up as a knight or a wizard or something, and you're running out there and you're killing monsters. Even though there's not a whole lot of story and all of that lore and everything embedded into this, if you play World of Warcraft the way I do and just click yes, accept, yes, give me my rewards, then you know what? It's kind of the same thing. But they definitely have the fantasy part right, and they have the MMO part right, because there's like 85 people per server, and then if you're in the Nexus, there's like a billion people standing around in there lagging at the computer and everything, trying to buy stuff and sell you crap. And then the co-op side, yeah, that actually totally works, and I'll explain to you why in a second. Because first, we have to talk about this little thing called, oh god, what was it? Oh, that's right, permadeath. Yes, this game has permadeath, but besides the fact that it's permanent, it actually is considerably different from other games. Yes, you lose all your gear and all that stuff. In other games, when you die, it's actually kind of a negative thing. You die and you have to go back, you have durability loss, and everything, you have to repair crap, or you have to go back and fetch your body or whatever. And here, yes, your body's gone, and that's, you know, that whole character's journey has now been written in stone, but you get this thing called fame. It's like a currency. And the only time you get fame is when you die, which means you have to die in order to actually get cool stuff in this game. Now, with fame coming with such a lofty price tag, aka death, you're probably wondering what kind of stuff you could buy with it. Well, on the low end, you could buy these things called Drake Eggs, which open up into these little dragons or whatever that follow you around. They kill things for you, or they do damage, or they do stuns, or they heal you, or whatever. And on the high end, there's this thing called the Amulet of Resurrection, which is basically an item that saves you from dying again at the cost of the item itself. Now, there is another form of currency, and it's called gold, and gold is only earned by doing one thing: paying money. Real money. It's kind of like Microsoft points, or BioWare points, or whatever game you play points. The things you can spend gold on seems to be limited to cosmetic or account-based things. For example, I have an extra slot here that I wanted to open up because I had a level 20 warrior once, and then he died, and everybody shall remember his name, balls in your mouth. But at least now I have 2 slots, I guess. Everything else is like dyes and like non-combat pets and stuff like that. Nothing game-breaking. I mean, even the character list here, if you take a look at it, I have Rogue, Archer, Wizard, Priest, Warrior. The way it started out, though, is I got the Wizard first, and that was the only thing I could play unless I got to level 5, then I'll unlock, I think, the Archer. Then you play the Archer to level 5, then you unlock the Priest, and then the Rogue, and then the Warrior, and that's how I went. And then I eventually unlocked the Knight by getting my Warrior to level 20. So even though there's all these currencies and stuff flying around, you still have to actually play the game in order to actually unlock anything. Now, I feel like we're getting a little bit backwards here. I talked about all the cool stuff first, and I got to talk about all the boring stuff. Oh god, okay, gameplay. Gameplay's next. All right, so the way it works is you use your WASD keys to move your character around, or you could use the Q and E keys to rotate the camera around. Now, note that this, even though it looks like a 2-dimensional environment, it is kind of a 3-dimensional platform. If you notice that my character is actually going behind the walls, and the walls are moving around. So even though you can have a top-down experience, just know that the world actually has a 3-dimensional flavor. This might help you as you're running around the open world trying to take care of bosses and whatnot. You kind of know the things that you could use to your advantage as far as obstacles or trees or whatever. Now, some players I noticed by watching YouTube videos, they were actually using the Q and E keys, rotating the camera while they were playing, and that to me just made me absolutely sick. Check this out. This, I want to throw up, like right now. I'm gonna go throw up. Okay, I'm back. Now, attacking is very easy. Just hold on the left click button and you just wave your mouse around in circles and your character is gonna shoot in that direction. Now, there is a limited range your character can shoot. I believe each character has a different range, but even the mobs have a range too, so keep that in mind. When you're dodging things, you're running back and forth, you can actually run out of range of the projectile and it will eventually stop. Otherwise, I guess it would just fly all the way across the map, and the map is no joke, it is huge. Now, your character also has spells and consumables that it could use while it's out there questing. For example, you hit the spacebar on like a priest or something, it does an AoE heal. On a warrior, it does like an AoE buff, and etc, etc. Now, these things use up magic power, and you have MP pots you could take to regen that if you need to, and also the same thing applies for health. There are health pots available. Magic power and health apply to all characters. Nobody has a special magic resource or something that's only exclusive to them. At least not any of the ones I've unlocked. Now, as I mentioned before, at any point in time, you can actually bail and go right back to the Nexus by pushing one key. There's no cast time, there's no cooldown. You just hit a key and then boom, you're back in the Nexus. And I highly recommend that you keep that thing bound because too many times I have died because it was bound to like the pause, break, control, alt, shift key, and that just doesn't work out for me. Now, speaking of mobility, you have the ability to teleport all over the map, and it's very, very easy. You see these little yellow dots up here? You right click on one, and then it'll pop a little thing, and then you click on teleport, and then you are there. Now, keep in mind, teleporting to the nearest large group of people for an XP train to get levels isn't always the absolute safest bet to gaining levels, especially if you're a priest, if you're a softie, because you're gonna show up, and then you're gonna get hit by some random mob's one shot, and then you're going to die. And I guess if a low-level character does it, it's fine. But if you're like me and you did it like, 3-4 times in a row, you might want to go back to leveling the proper way first. Now, I've already shown you a couple instances of XP trains, and you guys are probably more familiar with the MMO side of things, where whenever you're in a group, you actually get partial XP. That's not the way things work in Realm of the Mad God. You get full XP for every single kill that's done, regardless of how many people are in your group. And groups are formed automatically. It's pretty much anybody within range of you. That's what makes XP trains so awesome. You just show up, you don't have to, hey guys, invite me to the group, please. You just show up and boom, levels, boom, you know what I'm talking about. Now, the absolute last thing that we have to talk about today about Realm of the Mad God is fighting the big boss man himself, Oryx. And based off my experience, he doesn't necessarily hang out just wherever. He has his own lair, and inside the lair, lots of little minions you have to kill in order to get to him. And the only way to get to the lair is by being summoned by him. And this only happens whenever all of the open world quest mobs have been killed. So let's say you're just, XP training and getting you some levels and stuff like that. Then all of a sudden the entire screen will start shaking and chat will just explode. Oh my God, here we come, whoa. And they'll freak out. And then boom, now you're inside of Oryx's lair. Him being the main antagonist in this saga, you obviously want to kill him to get, fat loots and stuff. And he does drop fat loots. Unfortunately, the only time I got really, really close to killing him, I bailed. And then that's the time when I actually went later and I died doing something stupid. But while I was there, it was a pretty epic fight. We got to run around and kill all these little things. There's a huge group of us, and it was just a whole lot of, it was almost like playing League of Legends, but where you had like 40 people controlling one character because they were all doing the same thing. You run forward a couple steps and you throw a couple bullets and then you run back a couple steps because you're scared you're gonna get hit or you're gonna die. And remember, death being permanent, even in a summoned instance, you don't want to die. But for the skeptics out there who are like, I don't want to play another 8-bit retro throwback RPG game, whatever, give it a shot. It's very easy to jump in there and just play a couple times. The game is like 40 megabytes large on Steam. It's completely ridiculous. You can even go on their website, realmofthemadgod.com, and right there is the game right in front of you. So again, for those of you guys who have some time to kill in between playing other games, or maybe if you're at work and you want something that's quick and easy to jump in and play and very easy to close out because running in a browser, this game very well may be for you. All right, so that's it. It's available right now, free on Steam. Then, of course, microtransactions. Sometimes you gotta pay for things, guys. Life isn't free. You gotta pay for stuff sometimes. You can't just play for free. A game like that, if you wanna have a little bit of extra leeway with the extra characters and stuff, you gotta throw out some money. Just make sure you don't do dumb stuff like buy stupid items and then die, because permadeath is kind of a bitch. Anyways, I will see you guys next week. Bye.